Test, test, test.
Play you that whole clip, but what Ray goes on to say, and if you subscribe to this channel, then you've seen things like this before. You know, the Fed will not stop printing money to help the economy. But eventually, how long can this go on?
Potentially. It's too volatile. Because of the volatility, you can't go next to it. Someday when it, I would say Libra or something which has more stable value.
Now, in the interest of transparency, I wanted you to see this. Because Ray Dalio, I believe, is making a mistake right now. And I don't blame him at all, because here's the truth. You can tell by what he says, he doesn't understand what Bitcoin is, and he also doesn't understand what Libra is, because Libra is backed by the fiat that he said he's staying away from. And I respect the man a lot. You gotta respect him, but the truth is, he's an old dog who's made his billions. He has no reason to try and upset the status quo. And he's right. Gold will probably do just fine. I believe is making mistakes. Now I encourage Ray to do the research. Do the research. Yes, it's a higher risk. But yes, it has way more upside than gold as well. Like this video, get this information out. Maybe Ray will see this. Maybe we'll have a little bit of an impact. But let me know what you think down below in the comments. And speaking of learning, this is the big one. The Bank of England is considering adopting cryptocurrency.
3 times richer than Jeff Bezos? It's true. Jeff Bezos founded Amazon and it's worth over $100 billion today. He's one of the richest people in the world. Yet Bloomberg recently reported that according to the way that some economists measure wealth, as kind of a percentage of overall GDP, John D. Rockefeller was actually 3 times richer. And that Rockefeller fortune still supports more than 200 family members 6 generations later. While other wealthy families from that exact same era squandered their wealth. When I think about building wealth, and building wealth that lasts for generations, and what my financial legacy will be, I like to look at the best to see what they did and what they don't do
is the way
to
that
protect
they're gonna
and grow their wealth. That's how I discovered the Rockefeller method, which I share step by step in my book, What Would the Rockefellers Do? And today I'm investing in you by giving you a copy. You just cover the shipping.
And we're live, guys. Welcome to another episode of Good Morning Crypto. Only here, only on Ivan on Tech. We are, of course, broadcasting live straight out of Davos, Switzerland. Today, I have a new laptop, and today we're going to discuss something very, very important. Namely, we have important news from the US regarding Bitcoin taxes. And the way Bitcoin taxes work is, by the way, changing. And it might be very significant for real crypto adoption in the US, but also worldwide. So that's going to be the first topic. The second topic is going to be about the parabolic move and really what kind of targets we need to achieve in order to see a parabolic move that would truly mark the beginning of this bull market for sure. And really, you can say that we are already in a bull market because we've been going from 3K all the way to 14 and now we're at 8, 9K. But at the end of the day, what we truly want to truly see a huge bull market across the board in altcoins and Bitcoin and everything, is that we want to see all-time highs. So this is the big question, when all-time high is gonna be and really what kind of levels we're looking at. Another important thing is, of course, the digital dollar. Yesterday, I was here in Davos at the World Economic Forum and I interviewed, the crypto dad, CFTC, former head of CFTC, Christopher Giancarlo. And Christopher Giancarlo, he was very famous in crypto and still is because he defended crypto in front of the Senate, he defended crypto in front of the US lawmakers, and he really said, hey, you cannot kill crypto. You cannot kill crypto, you need to nurture it, you need to let it grow, you need to let it develop because this is innovation and this is very important. And then he really became so famous and everyone knew who Christopher Giancarlo was. Well, now he's no longer head of CFTC, but he's working with digital dollar. He's really pushing for this non-profit organization that will basically develop the digital dollar together with Accenture. And Accenture is a corporation that is involved a lot in digital currencies across the world. Even in Sweden, Accenture is involved with Swedish national digital currency that is e-krona that is developing. So this is going to be very important, by the way, digital dollar, because you also see the digital renminbi in China, and Chinese are really pushing for their currency. US is now also pushing for their currency. And the full interview with Giancarlo is gonna come out in a few days. I mean, this was amazing interview. But today I will just comment on what he really announced here in Davos and what kind of announcements we see. Then we're going to talk about Fed, because repo rates absolutely crazy, guys. $500 billion have been pumped into the economy out of nowhere, out of thin air in the past weeks. I mean, the past weeks, months. It's truly amazing. And they still keep doing it. They still keep doing it. They still keep pushing. So it's truly mind-blowing what is going on in the economy. And that is why crypto is so important. And that being said, guys, hey, we're gonna discuss this, we're gonna go into the chat, we're gonna hang out. As always, welcome everyone who is watching this live. As you can see, we're not in the studio. Why? Because we're in Davos, and I will be back in the studio on Saturday. Also, I want to give a big shout out to everyone who has supported me with this issue with my laptop, because look, it's been a lot of trouble. I spilled water on my laptop yesterday evening, right before I was going live. And because many of you are actually here in Switzerland, you watch me, I got people reach out to me so much. So I want to especially thank a person who is very significant in Davos. He owns a few hotels here. I mean, he's very significant. He offered me a driver to take me to buy a new laptop and organize everything. I mean, it was amazing. And now also in the conference, so many people are asking me, hey, Ivan, where's your laptop? Did you get your laptop? Is it working out? So I truly appreciate that you care a lot. So thanks a lot for that. And let me know how the sound is, how the camera is. You know, it's a bit nicer than the phone, but I also have this microphone that I bought just for this trip, so let me know if it's working. I think I'm using it. I think I have it plugged in. And also, what's important to note is that we have such an amazing community, and that is you guys. Although we're not streaming on our normal times, yet so many people are here. So welcome everyone. I have promoted Ricardo and Ivo to moderators because we did not have a lot of moderators in the chat before we started. So big congrats to you guys. I know that you've been following the channel a lot and I see you all the time. So thanks for that. VFU Burlick, I see in the chat, welcome. I see Mosmos, I see Shaman, I see Just Ride, I see Jay Bassam. What's up, Bassam? Welcome, welcome. Straight from Davos, that is correct. Straight from Davos. We see Crypto Hodl, Crypto Coaching. So let me know if this is all working fine, if the stream is good, if the sound is good, and if everything is okay. Video is 7 out of 10, sound is 10. Yeah, I mean, this video, look, I mean, I cannot show it because it's the camera, but it's like a small camera, but it has the light. What I liked about this web camera, look, it's not professional, but it's a web camera with the light. You see, I can switch off the light or I can turn on the light. You can barely see it, but in the darkness it's better. Now I have the daylight as well. Anyway, guys, let's move on to the first topic of the day, which is the markets. So let's go through the markets. We have the following situation in the markets. Really nothing has happened during the past 24 hours. If you look at the top 4, Bitcoin SV is pumping yet again. Many people are excited for Bitcoin SV, and really whenever I speak about Bitcoin SV and whenever people ask me about Bitcoin SV, everyone is curious about Calvin Air. That is the guy everyone is looking at. And then Craig is kind of secondary, to be honest with you, because it's mostly drama. But the serious people I talk with who are truly investing a lot of cash into into BSV, they're truly looking forward to BSV pumping even more. And I mean, those are wealthy people. They all like Calvin, and Calvin is really the reason they are here in BSV. I mean, to begin with, the reason they are excited about BSV. And Craig is really secondary. So I think it's definitely important to understand that while Craig gets most of the news, he's not really who attracts the most capital. But yet 13% pump in BSV. Looking at the biggest winners, we have BSV, Made Safe, Hedge, Dash, a few winners and a few losers, but nothing significant, to be honest with you. As always, guys, we do have our collaboration with Bybit, which you can check out in the description. You get $90 for free if you use bybit.ivanontek.com. And now we also have an additional offer from 3 commas. Basically, with 3 commas, you can explore different trading strategies and trading signals, and you can automate this. So basically they have a whole marketplace which is very easy to use, where you can basically pick different strategies. So what you could do is sign up on Bybit and then try 3 commas as well, just to see if it's for you or not. But please be very careful with Bybit, because at the end of the day, if you are trading, you need to be spending time and energy on trading. Don't just treat it as some kind of, hobby you can just do with your left hand, as we discussed in previous live streams. In Sweden, you say that when you do something for real, you do it with your right hand, because you're truly paying attention. And then when you do something with your left hand, it's like you're doing something on the side. You're not really really committed, because look, trading is a coliseum. You're entering the coliseum, so please be very careful. But if you're interested, check it out. And as always, go to academy.ivanontek.com to join the academy. And at the end of the stream, we will be giving away academy to somebody who commented on the last stream, which was like on what was it, Saturday, I think. Saturday, I don't even remember, because I'm in Davos. So my week has been reconstructed a bit. So if you commented on Saturday and you learned something, you commented what you've learned, you'll be in the giveaway today. And if you want to be in the giveaway next time, just comment what you have learned when you watch the whole video. Now, guys, this is huge. This is absolutely huge. We have a new bill in the Congress. And look, this bill could basically make crypto tax-free for most people. For most people who want to use this on an everyday basis, who want to use Bitcoin on an everyday basis in the US. And you know that one of the biggest issues with crypto and really using crypto on an everyday basis is that I see Clayton saying, come on, man, I'm left-handed. Yeah, I know. But it's an old saying. But the issue with using crypto on everyday basis is that, look, you gotta account every transaction. It is like that in Sweden, it is like that in the US as well, and in most countries it is like that. Now, the US is basically one of the biggest markets for crypto right now. It's absolutely so. Yet, it is a very crippled market. You have a lot of regulation, you have a lot of pushback from the government, and what's most important and maybe the biggest obstacle is that whenever you buy a coffee, whenever you buy anything, that's a taxable event. And when you have a taxable event, you need to calculate your loss and your profit, whether you had a loss or a profit. Obviously, nobody wants to do that. Obviously, it's not really practical for most people to go around accounting whatever they do, everything they do. So now we do have this bill that will basically remove it. Will basically remove this burden of accounting and keeping track of every transaction, because this is called the Virtual Currency Tax Fairness Act of 2020, and it's still just a bill, so it's not really a law that is confirmed. It's not really in the law book yet. But you see this proposal from Susan Belbini and David Shekevek. Sorry guys, I'm butchering the names. But they introduced the bill on January the 16th, so a few days ago. And basically what this bill means is that now you are exempt from tax if you have longs, as long as you have gains that are involved under $200, which basically, whenever you do a purchase, most probably it is under $200. Most probably you buy coffee, you buy some clothes, I mean, maybe you buy over 200, but for most people on their everyday transactions, it's under $200 per transaction. So all in all, this is very significant at the end of the day. Now, a question that many people had that I think needs to be clarified is whether it's on every transaction per day, or is it like the whole daily volume, or exactly like 200. If they could define it a bit better, that would be great. Exactly what it means with 200. Is it per purchase, or is it like per day, or what is it? Because obviously if it's like, $200 per month, it doesn't make any sense, but it seems like it is 200 per the thing you buy per transaction. So that would make a lot of sense, and that would definitely bring the US to the forefront of crypto, to be honest with you, because they're basically removing one of the biggest obstacles. And you know that all of these different cards, I see, by the way, a donation from Andreas Olsson in the chat. Thank you, man. 20 Norway crowns, Norway krona, thanks. So you understand that there are many of these crypto-backed debit cards, and Crypto.com has such a card, and MCO is what we're talking about. So that is why I think Andreas commented with MCO start shipping cards in the EU. Look, with these cards, if you use them in the US, and if it is the case that all transactions under $200 are tax-free, it means that they are actually usable. Because right now, those cards are not really usable if you if you report taxes, which I think you should. But in the US, if you still use those cards, you use debit cards, you need to keep track of everything you're doing and calculate loss and profit on everything, which is obviously a big pain. Nobody wants to do that, and it stops a lot of adoption. People don't really get into crypto for everyday transactions because of this. So this is very big, and especially it's big when it comes to the next bull market, when people can see this magic of transacting in crypto without caring about administration and without caring about handling each and every transaction, which would definitely help us a lot. And not only do we solve scalability in this new bull market, because previously we had the $50-$80 fees for transactions in the past bull market because we did not have SegWit adopted, we did not have transaction batching, we did not really have Lightning Network that is being deployed right now, and more wallets are actually usable. More and more wallets have nice interface, more and more wallets actually support Lightning, and it's a good technology that is already today very usable and will be more usable each and every day. So not only do we take care of the technology and make the technology more usable, we'll also take care of the regulation if it really goes through. I hope it does, because it would help a lot. And at the end of the day, it would just drive more business to the US. So whenever you make an industry simpler, whenever you make it easier for people to do business and to do really whatever they want to do with their finances, with crypto, with their business, is just better. It's better for everyone. It's better for the government, it's better for people, it's better for businesses, and for innovation as a whole. Oh, I see Crypto in the chat. Get yourself a hot coffee in cold Davos. Ivan Attack. Yes, man, we should meet. But as you all know, we are in Davos right now. Crypto here. The moon is also here, and I saw a lot of other great people yesterday, and the interview with Giancarlo is coming soon. Let's see, guys. Let me check the chat. The stream is working good, says Ricardo. Okay, good. Yeah, let me know if there are any issues, because this is really the first time I'm streaming with this laptop. I think I did most of the configuration correctly, but you never know. I have perfect configuration in my studio, but in the laptop is the first time. But we're gonna learn. I'm very careful with water not to spill, so I'm putting it away, far away. Okay, I'm putting it here. And also, you know that my laptop is now a bit exotic. Why? Because it has a Swiss keyboard. And really, it is exactly like Swedish keyboard. It's very similar, but for some reason, they have changed the Z and the Y. For some reason, those are flipped, because the Z was or Z, however you say this letter, Z, it was always in the bottom left corner. Now it is like in the top, but it's okay. I've switched the mapping in my brain. So I have an exotic laptop, and I had to travel like an hour to get it. Thankfully, I had people helping me. Watchers of the stream and people who live here in Davos and have businesses in Davos. It's been amazing. Okay, guys, moving on to a very important tweet by Nebraskan on Twitter. So why is it important? Well, basically, he made some analysis, and he looked at which level we need to reach in order for us to historically enter a new parabolic phase. And basically, he ended up with a bit over 14K, because if you look historically, there is this level we always have to breach. So what he says is that historically, we see that a weekly close above 0.65 Fibonacci will send Bitcoin into a new parabolic bull run. And this has been true for the past bull run, and the bull run before that, and the bull run before that. Whenever we cross this limit on a weekly, we really explode and we go to new all-time highs very quickly. Now, history that is not necessarily repeating itself every time, but when you get enough signals, for example, stock to flow, for example, this, for example, energy model, and by the way, energy model is also demonstrating new all-time highs right now. You realize that you get some indication of what might happen. You get some indication. But as always, look, people have all kind of theories. All kind of theories make sense. Theories that are completely opposite to what we're seeing right now are also existing and also make sense if you look into it. But personally, you know that I'm bullish. Personally, you know that I'm bullish because we're expanding Academy like crazy. I'm putting so much time, so much money into crypto as well by hiring people. Not only, you know, by investing, but also by hiring people and by growing the business. So I truly am bullish for 2020. And we're gonna see when we reach it. I mean, we could still be here under this for a few months, to be honest with you. And while the halving in itself might be a semi-bearish event, and you know I've been speaking about it because it's so overhyped, and really we might see a dump right after the halving because people will get disappointed, and people will really see this as their last hope. Some people are really looking at halving as the last hope, but these people are not really in crypto for right reasons because they really don't believe in this. They just have a bag which is severely under the price they bought it at, and they have lost all faith. They are really weak hands, so we want to get rid of weak hands, but they still have the halving. So they might be thinking that the halving is the way that they're gonna at least be able to break even maybe, or at least to recoup some of the losses. So that is something to definitely think about. Okay, moving on. Tone says this all the time. He's waiting for 1K or what, or that we're gonna go parabolic after 14. Look, I mean, also an important thing to note is that we were basically at those levels in June, but I guess it was a bit, no, but not really. We almost were at those levels in June, July. So we did not really reach that magical level of 0.65 Fibonacci, but at the end of the day, what's important here is exactly how you draw the charts. I mean, this exact chart you could draw in several different ways, and it's always like that. Different people draw the same charts differently. So anyway, we're gonna see, guys, but I'm very bullish for 2020. Not financial advice, but usually it's very important signs that we're seeing right now, and usually you're better off being bullish than bearish. As I told you guys, shorting Bitcoin is maybe the most dangerous thing you could do in your life. It's more dangerous than the most dangerous things you think about. So statistically, it's better to be a bull than a bear. Statistically, it's better to be bullish on this industry and on Bitcoin than to go against the trend. And also, it's important to know that we truly have some amazing fundamentals. So it's not only that we're watching the charts and we're watching how amazing everything is when it comes to the charts and the strength of this market on a technical level, on a technical analysis level, but also on a real technology level. So really, what we're seeing right now is a transaction that happened yesterday, and this is, by the way, the transaction. Let me show it to you. It happened on the 20th of January 2020, so it happened yesterday. And here you had somebody sending $450 million in under 25 cents. And you realize when people understand this a bit better, when the real whales of this world understand this a bit better, the real whales that are not in crypto right now, the real whales that are wealthy people across the world who get this, who see this, and who truly understand that you can transfer billions for a few cents whenever you want, wherever you want, however you want, that is when we will truly see some significant capital inflows in this market. Because look, crypto is amazing for the developing nations where you don't have bank accounts, where you have financial exclusion, but it's also amazing for wealthy people who live under severe capital controls, who do not really know. Look, if you have 450 million in your bank, how do you know if you can even access it? How do you know? Well, you don't. You don't. How do you know what will be required to move it and how much you have to pay to move it? You don't really know until you try. Until you try, it's a mystery. And especially this is true for Asia. Especially it's true for Asia, where you truly see some draconian capital controls. What kind of laptop did he get, says Shinshilo. Well, this one is a MacBook 16-inch. I know some of you said Lenovo, some of you said ThinkPad, but I have been traumatized by both Lenovo and ThinkPad when I was working as a full-time programmer at Ericsson. You know, I've been struggling through all of these ThinkPads and Lenovos in my life, and it's not been pleasant. But with MacBooks, I've had a pleasant experience, to be honest with you. And the last one, yesterday I spilled water on the last one. It's really broke now, but look, it's not the first time I'm spilling water on it. It maybe was the third or fifth time, and finally on the fifth time it broke. But what can you expect? So yeah, that is how it is. Now, also what's important now is that technologically we're seeing low fees. Why is that? Because of SegWit. It's a big part of it. And although SegWit was also present in 2017, it was not adopted. It really got rolled out in August. It really got rolled out as a technology in August, but then you realize how long processes many exchanges have, how long processes many wallets have. For an exchange to truly shift and to truly adopt a new standard for addresses and a new standard for transactions, it's a big deal. They have all of their security protocols. They have all of their normal routines set up with the old technology. So to say that, hey, Binance, Coinbase, why are you so slow adopting SegWit was really a foolish argument. Why? Because you recognize it's easy to adopt for you. If you have a small business with maybe 2 employees, then it's super easy to adopt SegWit and to adopt the new protocol. But if you have hundreds of employees, all of them follow protocols and processes, and you are responsible for hundreds of millions of dollars, obviously you don't want to jump on the new technology this quickly and adopt it the same week. You need to test it, you need to verify it, then you need to implement it, then you need to educate your staff, then you need to educate your support. So it's a big process. And finally, we're seeing that it's viable, it works, it's deployed, and the same is, by the way, with Lightning Network. So Lightning Network is an even bigger change. You see how long it took to adopt SegWit, and now the same process is starting over for Lightning Network to adopt it in the industry. So while technology is ready and easy for small businesses to adopt, big businesses will be a bit slower as always, and it's important. And you see, when big businesses adopt something like SegWit, we see a transaction fee of 0.0000005%. It's mind-blowing. Now, you know that in Bitcoin, the transaction fees are not really based on the number of Bitcoin that are being transacted. Bitcoin doesn't care how much Bitcoin you send. Bitcoin cares about how many bytes you take in the block. So you really pay the transaction fee based on the bytes of your transaction. And if you look at this transaction, it is very simple. It is just one input and one output. So probably somebody just moved this Bitcoin from one address to another address that they own. But what you see here is that this is a very small transaction in terms of bytes. You have transactions that are huge, that are just sending $100, but they're huge in terms of number of inputs and number of outputs. But this one is very simple, very small, and that is the reason why it's so cheap. That is the only reason why it's so cheap. Bitcoin doesn't care about the amounts of Bitcoin. Miners only care about the block space you're taking up and the transaction fee you're willing to pay for each byte that you're taking up. So this is very important. Let me check in the chat, guys. Normally, you know, when I'm streaming at home in the studio, I have the chat in front of me and then I have my screen. But now I just have my screen, and when I'm viewing the browser, I don't see the chat. So let me catch up with you guys. Isn't those $400 million on BTC sent via XRP? No. How do you mean they're sent via XRP? This is a Bitcoin transaction we're looking at. No offense to BTC, but it's pretty stagnant development wise. Well, how do you want your digital gold? Do you want your digital gold to change every 5 minutes or not? That is the big question. Now, you have other projects developing very quickly, but they're not digital gold. So really, I think it's good that it's slow. I think it's good that we don't rush ahead and change everything day to day. Obviously, it would be amazing if we could do that. But you realize that the slower we are, the more trust we really have as a protocol that doesn't change. This is the whole point of Bitcoin. The old clients from the early days of Bitcoin still work with new clients. That is why You see Bitcoin Cash and Bitcoin Satoshi Vision, when they say that they are the real Bitcoin, it's totally false because they're not even backwards compatible with old clients. Segwit is 100% backwards compatible. So you can still communicate and you can still be part of the same network even with the old clients from Satoshi days. So this is the biggest thing we have to recognize. I think it is the strength. It's a feature of Bitcoin that it is slow, it's digital gold. We don't change it however we want because look, if we have updates, if we have daily pushes, daily updates, daily rollouts, how easy it is then to suddenly, oops, now we changed the the max supply to 100 million Bitcoin. How easy would that be to sneak in something like that because it's so quick processes, it's so quick, how to turnaround time between idea, implementation and rollout. So while I get the point, it's not really relevant. Really, if you want to have digital gold. Stagnant development wise, really, a lot has been, I think so too, a lot has been going on. You see Segwit, you see Lightning, you see Schnorr, you see Taproot, you see a lot of these things now coming to life. And it's a lot for Bitcoin, to be honest. But to truly see big rollouts, it takes a few years. Maybe we see a big rollout each 3 years. So the last big rollout was in 2017 with Segwit. The next one will be 2020 with Taproot and Schnorr, if they really make it this year. Ivan, I heard you did some entries today. Any of them? Yes. They're not available yet. I did entry with CFTC Giancarlo, Crypto Dad. It was amazing. Why? Because I could ask him some personal questions. That is what I really liked about my own entry. Not to toot my own horn, so to speak, but the entry is amazing. And I asked him some personal question about how he became famous in crypto, Because look, this guy, he's a regulator. He works at CFTC. And while I'm sure there are many interesting things with being a regulator at CFTC, you cannot compare how interesting it is being a crypto. So I had this suspicion that he must be enjoying being famous in crypto a lot. I had this suspicion that he must be really enjoying this crypto industry because he is a celebrity and the crypto is so vibrant. You see all the conferences, all the crazy things that are happening. There is drama, there is conflict, there is innovation. It's really all the elements you need for a fantastic movie, a fantastic story. And crypto is that is why I'm so addicted to crypto, to be honest with you. It's so fantastic industry. So I could ask him about that and the interview will be on the channel as soon as I get the recording, because I had guys from Crypto Nights helping me to record and I don't have the recording, but as long as they are finished and have edited, by the way, their editing should be amazing. I will publish it. So speaking about drama, speaking about conflict, I thought this was interesting. Basically, Kim.com has come out and said that he is supporting Bitcoin Cash. And they had the Bitcoin.com, Kim.com, Kim.com on this channel a few months ago. And really, the video with Kim.com, if you haven't seen it, if you haven't seen that video, let me show it to you. That is one of the most iconic videos I think I've ever done. Why? Because I still get comments about it today. Here in Davos, people are like, thank you for interviewing Kim.com. And I didn't really understand from the beginning that people will like it a lot and like it so much. I mean, yes, I get that he's interesting, but to get the word out for a video